Greetings and welcome to Miles More Motivation, the show that is designed to bring you more joy, happiness, fulfillment, and obviously more motivation. In this episode, we're going to talk about letting go of the past. I'm going to share with you 3 ways that I have helped myself let go of the past. I've helped clients let go of the past. And I think that if you're holding on to maybe conflict from the past, an argument from the past, a fallout from the past, someone said something to you that you wish they'd never said, or you said something, or you did something that you regret. I want to share with you 3 really common sense, but not necessarily common practice ways to help you really release that once and for all. Kind of start by telling you a story, and those of you that have been watching my videos regularly or know me on a personal level will know that I grew up raised by a single mother. Hi Mom, if you're watching, I love you very much. Dad wasn't there, and initially as a child and probably as a teenager, that filled me with a lot of self-doubt. It caused me to really question myself, and was I good enough, and was I worthy, and why did that event happen? Did he want me? Why didn't he want me? And all kinds of thoughts and dialogues. And we actually have a great relationship now. Hey Paul, if you're watching, and we get on very well. But it was a problem for me as a teenager. And but one of the things that it did that was really profound for me is it almost forced me via kind of subconsciously, I think, in fact, it drew me to really connect with one of my mum's brothers, my mum's brother Lee. Hey Lee, if you're watching, love you, man. And it's funny because looking back on that experience, and I've had some incredible coaching, which helped me see that had I had a fully present father, I may not have had that connection. I may not have had that bond with my mum's brother, my uncle. And the bond that we have is amazing. People think that we're father and son. We have similar interests. We can have deeply meaningful, powerful conversations late into the night over whiskey. And we can divert off into football and politics and personal development. And really, we have so much in common. And so for me, one of the ways that I was able to let go of the past is to really see that, well, what if that was a real force for good? And what if, had I had a present father, what if I wouldn't be so close to Lee? And that makes me sad thinking about that. So in this video, I'm going to share with you, if you have something in the past that you're still holding on to, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to really let go of that. The first thing you need to think about in terms of letting go of the past is finding your positive intent. Now, I know in this current situation that we're in, the coronavirus pandemic, at time of doing this video live, it may be very difficult for you to see the positive intent. If you've been deeply affected by this, actually affected by this, either by having the virus, or somebody close to you has had the virus, or someone that you know has passed away as a result of the virus, it can be hard to find a positive intent for that. Hard to find a positive intent for that. But I believe that when we look hard enough, there is always a positive intent for everything. As I last night went out in the street and clapped the NHS for the 4th or 5th week running, it's amazing how much more appreciative I am for the NHS and probably everyone in Great Britain. If you're watching in Britain, and whichever country you're in, you probably have a medical service that maybe you're more appreciative for now because of this experience. So for me, what I ask you to do is I ask you to kind of ask, well, that experience in the past that so deeply affected you, that brought you trauma, that maybe brought you sadness, or that really caused you to be very angry, if there were to be a positive intent, what could that be? Nelson Mandela spent some 25 years imprisoned, and then when he was released, he didn't take on his captors and have them all killed or put back in prison. Instead, he united the country and became a role model. So I want you to think about the experience in the past that so deeply hurt you. If you could find a positive intent, if you could choose to believe that there was a positive intention for that, and you could find it and in your heart go, if there was a positive intent, what would that be? And answer that question. Next, obviously using the Back to the Future reference, I want to think about your alternative ending. Now, if you've seen the movie Back to the Future, or if you haven't seen that, you'll know that well, if you haven't seen Back to the Future, what planet are you on? You must watch that movie. It's my favourite movie. I'm very biased by that. Can't tell you how many times I've watched it. Anyway, I digress. But in the movie, Doc Brown and Marty McFly travel through time. They go back in time, they go forwards in time. And one of the things that they do in the second film is they go forwards to help to try and rectify problems in the future. And the result of their almost meddling, they actually cause more problems than they actually were in the first place. So I want you to kind of think about, had you not had that experience, what would be your alternative ending? You see, a lot of people think that if they didn't have that situation that they've had, that their life would be better. I can think about experiences in the past that I've had, that if I deeply look at those experiences, the positive intent that we just spoke about, the alternative ending is probably not something that I would have wanted anyway. Because one of the things I've learned about the past is if you look for the positive intent, if there were an alternative ending and you could pick that alternative ending, it may not serve you in terms of growth anyway. If I had the alternative ending of having a fully present father, would my life be better? Who knows? Would I be doing this type of life coaching work? Probably not. Over the years, I've suffered from severe eczema. But having eczema caused me to make some dietary changes that has seen me get into the best physical shape of my life. Would I have needed to make those dietary changes had I not had eczema? Maybe not. I've had girlfriends in the past that I've split up with and have been devastated by. And yet here I am now married truly, hand on my heart, to the girl of my dreams. Had I not broken up with those girls, would I be married to Sati now? Probably not. So you want to think very carefully about if the past is something that you wish had never happened. You want to think about if there was an alternative ending, how do you know that it would serve you? How do you know for certain that that alternative ending would give you the growth that you ultimately need? Yeah. And the last thing in terms of letting go of the past is what I call a role model mindset. One of Sati's closest friends, one of her oldest friends, several years ago was a victim of an acid attack. An abusive ex-boyfriend attacked her with acid, and she has a burn, severe third-degree burn down the side of her face. And obviously that caused her great trauma, great sadness, and she spent a long time facial reconstruction and counseling and psychotherapy dealing with that. And instead of continuing to allow her life to be kind of living in the past of this experience, she is now a pioneer for women's and men's rights on domestic abuse. She's on BBC News, ITV, CNBC, NBC, all over the world, campaigning against domestic violence in the home. Now, I know people that have been through traumatic experiences that just want nobody else to know about those experiences. A couple of years ago, me and Sati, before we had Sage, we had 2 miscarriages. And both are incredibly painful experiences, but we decided to share them with the world, not for attention or significance or, for, oh, poor you, but we decided to share because we knew there's so many people out there that hadn't shared and hadn't maybe had the open dialogue about their experience. They just brushed it under the carpet and hoped that they would just have another baby and could just forget that. But you see, you can't forget that kind of experience. It stays with you for life. And for me, the way that I've been able to kind of let go of that experience is to be a role model. I come across men all the time that have told me that they've experienced that, or men I meet who've grown up without a father and they feel that that's a bad thing, or they've grown up with a father and they told me that they wish they hadn't grown up with a father because of the relationship that it's caused them, that they wish they maybe didn't even have one because they've followed their father so much to the letter that now they don't know who they are. And I've found, just without really choosing to do that a lot of men have been drawn to my coaching and my work because they're fascinated with my ability to process and reframe growing up without a father and use it as a force for good. So you've got to decide that your experience, you've got to know that your experience is not unique. Whatever traumatic experience you've had, someone somewhere has probably had a similar experience, and there will be people out there that just kind of blame, oh, this is because of this way, and my life is because of this, and life has dealt me a bad hand. You've got to decide. If you're watching this video, I'm going to presuppose that you're a person that wants to be a role model, and it doesn't want to just play the victim and doesn't just want to blame. So you have to decide from now on, moving forward, that you're not in fact going to let go of the past, but you're going to be a role model and you're going to use it as a force for good. And that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, as always, hit like, hit share, book yourself in. There's a link below to book yourself in for a coaching call. If you've not had a coaching call with me yet, they're completely complimentary. First 60 minutes is completely free, no obligation to join after that. Coaching calls are usually £300. I have clients that are people such as MMA fighters, CEOs of multinationals, people from Hollywood movies and shows like The X Factor. So go ahead and book yourself in for a complimentary coaching call with me. For now, I hope you've enjoyed the show. Miles More Motivation, over and out. See you next time. Goodbye.